Hi, I'm now going to explain some of the key components of the Globecar Globscout Vario. As we enter the motorhome, we come to the main control panel. To turn the main control panel on, just hold this button in just here. Once the control panel is fired up, you will see that this icon here is just letting us know that we have mains supply connected to the van. This one here is giving us a indication of the condition of the leisure battery, and this one here is giving us an indication of how much water is in the fresh tank. And then obviously we have the time displayed. If we now move across to the outside buttons, this one here that says 12 volt will turn the 12 volt on and off, but leave the main control panel on, so we're still charging batteries up. So it's very handy if you're just going out for the day, etc., and you don't want to run around turning off all your lights individually. You can do them all here in one foul swoop. Next to that, we then have a picture of a tap. So water pump off, water pump on, so we can get water out of the taps, flush the toilet, and fill the boiler up if it's been emptied for winterization. Directly underneath that, we have a little picture of a snowflake, and that's frost protection on and off for the waste tank. If we now come to these buttons here, this one here will let us know exactly how much water is in the tank, so we're 90% full, and this one here will give us a voltage reading of the leisure battery, and then if I press it again, a voltage reading for the vehicle battery. This one will then display temperature inside and temperature outside, and then go back to the main menu. What you can also do is hold this button in, and then you can then go in, change your time on the enter button, or go into its main functions all in one go. This one here is for colour, so you can change the colour of your screen, whether or not you've got key beeps on and off. You can adjust the temperature inside, so if you've got another thermometer in here saying it's 30 degrees, you can obviously change the thermostat, and you can also change the external thermostat as well. This is more for workshop. They've obviously already drop tested the batteries and entered the correct voltage in to begin with, and then finally just save. Next to the main control panel, we then have the Truma controls for heating and hot water. This all works on gas. We're currently in the off position with this little knob here on the A. If I now turn the dial up, you will now see the knob is on 40 degrees. So we're now heating hot water to 40 degrees. And then if I flick it up again, hot water to 60 degrees. Quite hard to see on the video itself, but you might just be able to see a tiny little faint green light that's on just there. It's just letting you know it's on. You may also be able to see, if I just get in there, an amber light that's on. The amber light will now stay on until the temperature of 60 degrees is achieved, and then it will go out to indicate that your water is at temperature. If for any reason it fails to light due to the fact that you might have run out of gas, not turned the gas bottle on, or there may be a bit of air in the system, a red light will begin to flash in this window here. Once you think you've rectified the problem, turn it off, and then literally turn it back on again, and it will try again. If we now go back to off again, and we flick down to the lower ones, you'll see a tiny little picture of a flame. That little flame there just represents the heating system, and then we just control the temperature on the inner dial here, one being the coolest, 5 being the hottest. And then if we want heating and hot water together, we flick it down to the bottom, and then we have hot water at 60 degrees and heating. All the thermostats are just here. So you've got the thermostat for the heating and the thermostat for the main control panel. Okay, if we now move down, you will see that there is a hatch in the floor behind the passenger seat. In there you will find the jack and wheel brace kit and the fix and go kit, so an air compressor and some foam, as this particular model of motorhome does not have a spare wheel. If we then come to the dinette seats and remove the cushion, and then lift the flap up, you will now see that we found the consumer unit. So we have the trip switch just there and the test button. The battery charger, we can turn it on and off just there, but obviously most of the time we want that on because we want to be charging batteries up when we're hooked up to main supply. And then we have all the 12 volt blade fuses just there. They are all labelled up and numbered up, so will be in the manual to explain what they are. They do have little indications. For example, this one here's got a little picture of a tap, so that's the fuse for the water pump. If I then come to this other side and then lift up here, you will then see the leisure battery is located just here. Okay, if I now swivel round, tucked on entrance just down here is the switch to put the step in and out. We have 2 gas burner rings and then the sink, and then moving along we have the oven. With the oven, just push, twist. This does have ignition, just like so. With the hob itself, you do need to get one of those extended lighters or use a match to light. The fridge is located underneath the oven. Right now, come to it, you can see the controls just here. The main control, turn on and off on this one here, so we're off. Then we have main supply. Then we have 12 volt maintain for when we're driving. And then lastly we have gas. If you're going to use it on gas, you then need to come across to where your temperature control is. You then need to hold it in and push the igniter button. When you do that, you then want this line here to drift out of the white into the green to let you know it's lit. If we then come back up again, we then have the toilet. Dometic toilet in this van. To flush, we literally just press the middle button just here. This side here, we will get a light illuminate when the cassette is half full, and we will then get a further illumination if the cassette gets completely full. It will illuminate here if you have not inserted the cassette incorrectly, and this one here is basically not used on this model of van, as it does not have a separate header flush tank on this model, so we can basically ignore this one. With your cassette toilet, to open to the cassette, just pull on this lever here. With the shower, you should be able to see, if I pan up, that's the shower curtain there, and then you'll see that it actually comes out of the toilet area and then runs all the way around. To get the shower tray, we undo this button here and then pull the shower tray out, and then obviously pull the screen around. If I now move further on, and come to this point here, this just gains us access to the freshwater tank. So if we wanted to add cleaning powder, etc. to it, it's an easy way of gaining access. To drain down the freshwater tank for winterization, or if you don't want to go down the road with lots of water on board, we come to this side here. You will also see that we can gain access to the freshwater tank on this side as well. But to drain it down, you'll see this little knob here. Just literally turn it and we will begin draining down the freshwater tank. If I now spin myself around and come this side, you will see all of the gas isolation taps for all of the appliances on board. They're all in the on position currently. This one here is for your heating and hot water. This one here is for the oven. This one is for the fridge. And this one is for the hob. To drain the boiler down for winterization, the boiler drain valve is located just here. These particular drain valves are also automatic. So if the temperature inside the van drops below 3-4 degrees, this valve will automatically open and drop the water out to frost protect itself. If we are going to manually drain it, all we do is we come to this blue diamond on the top and we twist it. And when we twist it, this blue button here will pop out. And all the water will now drain out of the boiler. To fill the boiler back up again, twist and press to reset. Fill up your fresh water tank, turn the water pump on, and then the water pump will begin to prime the boiler back up again. After a few minutes you will need to start opening taps up, etc. to start blowing all the air out. Once the water is flowing freely, close the taps and then you will eventually fully prime up. If this is auto drained, all that will happen is the blue button will just pop out just here and you just need to push it back in again. If you're frantically pushing it back in and it's popping out, it's still too cold in the van and you will need to turn some heating on to warm the area up. When draining down for winterization, especially when it is extremely cold, it is also a good idea, once you've drained your fresh tank, your waste tank and drained your boiler, that you also open up all of your taps. That way, if they're open like this and we do get a harsh frost, the water will freeze, but it will then travel up and out at the end and form an icicle, thus making the pipework not expand and split. Okay, if I then come right the way round to the back of the van, we will find the gas locker, the trimmer regulator just sits here, the hose comes off the regulator and then goes into the propane bottle just here. Remember, it's a gas bottle, so it's reverse fed. Once the bottle is depleted, make sure the bottle is turned off, which is clockwise. Take your gas spanner or adjustable spanner, undo, replace with a new bottle, screw and tighten back up again, and then when you come to use your gas again, anti-clockwise to turn on. Do make sure that the bottle is off for travel. If I step back up again, the bed above the cab just pulls down just like so, and then literally get your ladder and then hook it on and climb up. I hope this video has been of some help.